buyer. And that's so hopefully the tenant buyer will get a mortgage with the bank. If the bank sees that that property is selling seconds before for a much lower price, they're going to be very nervous about whether or not they have security for their mortgage. So registering that on title as a caveat will be the second thing you can do, and it'll show that you've had the right to buy it at that lower price for some time, and it's more likely the appreciation is truly happened in the marketplace. So don't be greedy. Register a caveat early. The third thing you can do is have an appraisal of that property at or over the second contract price, so the bank feels comfortable to know that they've got security. That really helps a lot of deals. I guess the other thing is, trying to pick your parties carefully. Pick motivated people who you think are going to work well together and get it done. I've seen a number of deals over the years where the issue was the market didn't quite perform as strong as they had hoped. The actual price of the house wasn't quite there. So maybe the first contract was $250, the second contract was at $300, and if the fair market value of the house at the time of the option was, $280, right? It's not $300, and the guy can't get a mortgage. So that's the sort of problem where you think, uh-oh, maybe we've got an issue here. And I've seen parties actually negotiate with the tenant buyer and the middleman to bring that second contract price down, and negotiate even with the owner to bring that first contract price down, so everybody wins and it actually closes. As far as holding deposits and trust and stuff, that's all about satisfying the bank that there's enough security and enough money in the deal. So in other words, the bank wants to know that the debt servicing ratio is within their policy, within their acceptable zone, and the guy hasn't borrowed the money for the down payment. So I've seen a number of brokers do, very creative things, all of which trying to satisfy the various lenders they deal with, each of which are different and all ever changing. They might have the deposit, set aside where they issue monthly receipts, or they will have, the amount in a separate account and all this kind of stuff. I've had, as you've mentioned, I've had some people say, well, you know what, the bank wants the deposit to be refundable in order for them to do the deal. And so the parties sort of have to make a choice. Well, do I want to amend my agreement that that's the case, or or have this guy not be able to get a mortgage from this lender and risk he won't get one from any lender and get mad and sue, or maybe just never close, or what have you, and the whole thing will fall apart. It doesn't make any sense to me why a bank would do that, because if the bank is funding a purchase of a home, like Joe Public buys a house, you go to offer to buy a house and say, I'll buy that house for $500,000, and I'll put a deposit of 25 grand down or 50 grand down. That deposit's not refundable. That's the whole bloody point of a deposit at law, and under every standard real estate contract pretty much in the country, the deposit's non-refundable because it's there for security of the seller. If the purchaser fails to perform, then the seller gets to keep the deposit for their trouble. And it's very odd for the bank to say we want that refundable. It makes no sense at all. And I would fight that tooth and nail in the sense of, bank, you're being silly. And in fact, I'm going to another bank. Goodbye. Just doesn't make sense. So I hope that answers the question. It's quite a long-winded answer. I'm sorry, but that deposit, what